Hello, beloveds. Tonight I have a message for you that I need to get out of my system. And it is entitled, I Forgive Myself and I Am Ready to Let It Go. Stay tuned.
Odundun aremu, odundun aremu, bàbá rẹ̀ mú odundun ìfarawa, odundun aremu, bàbá rẹ̀ mú odundun ìfarawa. Odundun aremu, odundun aremu, bàbá rẹ̀ mú odundun ìfarawa, odundun aremu, bàbá rẹ̀ mú odundun ìfarawa.
Good evening, beloveds. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, beloveds. I have a message for you tonight, and I hope you are ready to listen to it. I know many of you suffer from anxiety, but you're going to have to be patient. You just want me to get to the point. You're going to have to be patient. Don't miss out on tonight's message. You got to watch this until the end. Last night, Spirit shared with you a message entitled, The Blessing is in the Dark Place. The blessing is in the dark place. Meaning, if you saw the video, that we have to appreciate the dark places that we're in instead of fighting against it. We have to embrace the dark places that we're in instead of trying to reject it. We have to be able to understand why we are in the dark places in our lives that we sometimes travel through in order to get to the blessings. And every message is not for everyone. So tonight, Spirit says to you, beloveds, I did it, I am guilty, and I am ready to let it go. I forgive myself, and I am ready to let it go. Why is it that Spirit wants to speak about this tonight? Last night we were talking about a blessing in a dark place, and tonight we're talking about I forgive myself and I am ready to let it go. Why is it? And the answer to that, to my understanding at least, as to how I was able to download this message from Spirit, is that while many of you are in dark places that you reject, many of you are in dark places that you don't want to be in, and you spend more time fighting against it, protesting against it, complaining about it, crying about it. Many others are in a place where the guilt of your past, the guilt of the things that we have done, the guilt over the things that we have been part of, does not allow us to enjoy, to embrace the blessings, does not allow us to walk into the blessings, does not allow us to receive the blessings. So it's not just about being in a dark place. For some people, it is. There are many other people that though they are in a dark place, they understand why they are in a dark place. They understand that there's something to learn while being in the dark place, but they still don't receive the blessings because the guilt over what they did, about what they were part of, or what they failed to do is so huge to them, is so big to them that they miss out on the ride. They missed out on getting on that train, that last train that is on the way towards their blessings. So I am here to speak to you tonight about putting to rest, laying down, releasing, letting go of the guilt, of the unforgiveness, your inability to forgive yourself, so that you can really embrace your blessings. Because again, tonight's message also talks about the fact that it's not, your blessings are not being blocked because of your lack of intelligence. It's not being blocked because you're not, able to, or don't have the capacity to embrace bigger levels in your life. Many of your blessings are being withheld because you are unwilling, unable, or simply just don't know how to forgive yourself for something that you should have not done, for something that you didn't know any better, for things that you probably did do consciously, but you're not perfect. You're not perfect. There are many reasons why we don't forgive ourselves for things we've done in the past. There are many reasons for why we don't forgive ourselves over things that we have done in the past. Many things. For example, sometimes you don't forgive yourself because you don't feel worthy. You don't feel worthy. You want love. You want the money. You want the stability. You want the children, but you don't feel worthy. And when we don't feel worthy about ourselves, that, beloveds, is indeed a blessing blocker. It will block your blessings from here to kingdom come. It will block your blessings. So Spirit is here tonight to remind you, to make you aware, to wake you up from that sleep that you're in which you treat yourself with unloving ways, in which you treat yourself ugly, in which you speak to yourself in a negative way, in which you feel less than, in which you feel that emotion that makes you feel unworthy. So this is where you need to not just make peace with it, which is tonight's message, making peace with it. Making peace with it. I forgive myself and I am ready to let it go. But in order for me to forgive myself and in order for me to be ready to let it go, I have to understand, embrace, accept, number one, that I'm not perfect. I am not perfect. Sometimes you are holding yourself to an expectation of perfection that is humanly impossible. And because you hold yourself in a very strict way to a level of perfection, to a need for perfection, and because you did mistakes or you did something that you should have not done, you said something you should have not said, you were part of a group, of a setting, of a scheme or something that you should have never been part of, then it broke down your vision of perfection inside of you. And you're not able to forgive yourself. You feel guilty. You're carrying that guilt, that weight of guilt over your head, in your heart, over your shoulders, continuously unable to let it go. Unable to let it go. Well, let me tell you something from a healer's perspective. And let me tell you something from an ordained priest of Oricha, Shango, perspective, as an ordained priest of the Lukumi Afro-Cuban diaspora tradition. We're not robots. We're not perfect. We're not God. And Obatala, the god of white cloth, the owner of our heads, the sculptor of our bodies, was one of the Orishas, if not the one of the Orishas that made so many mistakes. Obatala made so many mistakes. It is said, according to the Apatakis, to the stories, that when God, Olodumare, had given Obatala the assignment of sculpting our bodies, he had an issue. He had an experience. Let's just call it. Let's just make it very, romantic. He had an experience with palm wine. and he became tipsy. They don't say drunk, but hence, he became tipsy and he fell asleep while sculpting bodies, while creating us human beings. And that's it. And that's why it is said that deformed people were made. That is why it is said that albinos were made. That is why it is said that people, individuals, souls with certain impediments and physical ailments and missing body parts or different deformities, and also individuals that are born with certain mental defects, came about because of Obatala's mistake of falling asleep because he became tipsy. And this is one of the many reasons, or the main reason, why he became the owner of all of us. He fathered all of us because he felt so guilty. He has so much remorse over having done such a mistake under God's watch, that he said, "These are all my children. And when nobody wants them, I will embrace them. When nobody receives them, I will take them. When no one wants to pay attention to them, I will give them love." That's why we are all under the protection and guidance of Obatala, regardless of whether we're white, black, brown, whether we're short, tall, skinny, obese, whether we look beautiful, whatever beautiful is, depending of your social construct and your norms in your society, right? He takes us all in, and he doesn't like injustice, and he doesn't like abuse, and he doesn't like unfair treatment, and he doesn't like anything that doesn't stand on the side of justice. So therefore, what is that to teach us? What is that to tell us? What is that for us to understand about ourselves? It is for us to understand that, number one, we are not perfect. It is for us to understand that we all are subjected to some kind of imperfections in some kind of way, to make mistakes in our own lives, with ourselves, with our significant other, with our parents, with our children, with our partner, whomever. We are bound to make mistakes. The point is not being stuck in that mistake. The point is not being held hostage in that which we partaked in, did, and allowed that to define the rest of our destiny. Your issue is that you keep defining your destiny based on what happened yesterday, based on what you did. I'm not talking about, because Spirit have said this before in other videos that I have shared, in which we hold ourselves hostage because of things of our past. I'm not talking about things that have happened to us, things that we have been unfortunate victims of, but things that we ourselves have done, things that we ourselves have pushed, have perpetuated, have said, executed, or lack of, and we feel guilty over it, because in many instances, in many things, actually all of it, we can't take back what we did. We can't take back what we failed to say. We can't take back the error that we made. We can only move forward doing it better, forgiving ourselves, and being able to recognize where we went wrong, so that we don't put ourselves in that same predicament again. So that we don't put ourselves in that same predicament again. So this is where Spirit tells you, beloved, what are you going to do? What are you going to do to be able to release yourself from that guilt? Because that's, in your case, for whomever this message is for, that is what's holding your blessings. That is what's holding your growth. That is what's withholding the abundance that you're supposed to be living in and enjoying. It's been withheld because you're living in guilt. Guilt of what you failed to do, or guilt over what you did. And this could apply to so many things, beloved. So I ask you tonight, what do you feel guilty about? If you are honest with yourself right now as you listen to this spiritual message, as you listen to this spiritual guidance, what do you feel guilty about? If you dig down deep inside, there are things that you feel guilty about that you may not even know that you've been treating yourself with guilt. Because there could have been things that you experienced when you were a child. Well, what the hell does that mean? I'll tell you what it means. I had a client once, years ago, who is still my client, luckily. And she, through a healing session that we had, it came about that the 10-year-old version of herself was feeling guilty because she couldn't save her grandmother from death. She couldn't save her grandmother from death. She was alone in her house at 10 years of age with her grandmother, who suffered what seemed to have, if I recall correctly, what seemed to have been a heart attack, and she was, and she couldn't do anything to save her grandmother. She called the neighbors. She went out, called the neighbors, etc., etc. Do what a normal 10-year-old child can think of doing at that particular time under that kind of pressure. And grandma, unfortunately, died. That child was carrying that guilt inside her all those years. When I met her, she was in her 30s. But she couldn't put two and two together as to why is it that no matter what she did, no matter how intelligent she is, no matter how well she did her job, she couldn't enjoy life. She couldn't enjoy a relationship. She didn't have other blessings that she was really deserving of. And it came about to be that she wasn't receiving the blessings, not because she wasn't capable of receiving the blessings, but because she wasn't allowing herself to receive the blessing, because she was always working from, speaking from, acting from, thinking from a space of guilt. And she wasn't fully aware that that's how she was acting. She wasn't fully aware that that guilt that she had repressed, that guilt that she had felt her whole entire life, was in her subconscious mind. And everything that she did, it was never good enough. Everything that came at her, she could never fully enjoy. Another scenario can be over things that maybe you wish you would have told your parent before they passed away. Or things you would have done and wish you could have done with your child before he or she passed away. There are many situations like that, many, countless of situations in which you've lost a child that you feel you were never really close enough to. And you lost them because God decided that it was their time to go. And you hold that guilt, not just, you hold so many different pains. First, you hold the pain of the parent that lost the child, but you also hold the guilt of not having built a stronger relationship with that child. Or maybe you're that person that feels guilty, maybe consciously or subconsciously, over the fact that you never told your grandparent or your father or your mom, I love you enough. Or maybe you never even uttered those words to your beloved loved one before they passed away, and you carry that guilt. Maybe you're somebody that carries that guilt of the argument that you had before that loved one passed away. Or maybe they're even still alive. It's been years since you've spoken to them, and you carry that negative emotion inside as to the memory of that last fight or that last argument, because it wasn't really a conversation. It was an argument. You said something really hurtful. And Spirit is here tonight to help you understand that you don't have to continue defining yourself but what didn't take place. You do not have to continue defining yourself by what didn't take place, because you didn't know better at that particular time, because you didn't have the right understanding at that particular moment, or you weren't even the age to act differently. You didn't have the experience, you didn't have the training, you didn't have the tools, you didn't have enough self-love. to do what needed to be done or to say what needed to be said, but you're still day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, still punishing yourself, which is why you can't even enjoy a good job. You can't even enjoy a good relationship. You can't even enjoy good friends or good company because you don't allow yourself permission to feel. Because there's something that went down inside you that completely shut down at the moment that you went through that experience. Something in you completely shut down. Something in you turned off. I am here tonight to turn that light back on because that light has been turned off for a very long time. And yes, if you want to cry, cry it out right now. Yes, if you want to get upset right now. But whatever emotion flows through you, release it, let it all go, forgive yourself, and be able to start fresh, a new beginning. Because the goggles that you've been wearing are goggles of guilt. That's why everything that you see, everything that you experience comes from a guilt perspective, from a guilt mentality, and you can't really be present carrying an outdated, old, negative, debilitating, draining emotion. I ask you tonight, what emotion have you been carrying for weeks, for months, for years that you can't even allow yourself to be present? What situation you can't seem to forgive yourself? Did you cheat on the person that you loved and you can't even forgive yourself because they have not found it in their heart to this day to forgive you? Maybe it's that. Or was it that loved one that you lost, that you didn't have a good relationship with, and you go to bed every night and you wake up every day just wishing that you would have had a much better relationship with them? Was it that miscarriage that you had? Some of you are dealing with miscarriage issues. Oshun's energy is coming again to me tonight, and it's saying some of you are dealing with miscarriages issue. Forgive yourself. It wasn't even your fault. It's not your fault if you have a miscarriage. Why are you faulting yourself if you had a miscarriage? Why? Because you were on drugs when you had the miscarriage? Or you were drinking when you had the miscarriage? Or you were in a relationship where you got beat and because of the beating you lost a child, but you're the one that feels guilty? Let it go, beloved. Let it go. Release that pain. Release it. Cry it out. Forgive yourself if you feel the need to forgive yourself over something that you were not totally guilty of, but you make yourself feel guilty about. Whichever it is, whichever scenario, whichever circumstance, whichever experience it is, stop holding your destiny hostage to your history. That's what I'm here to tell you tonight. That's what I am here to help you understand. You don't have to take it all in tonight. You might have to listen to this video a couple of times before it really sinks in. You might have to go through some healing processes before you really do the work. You might need some guidance to be able to do the work. You might need some therapy, some healing, some spiritual assistance, whichever it is. Whichever it is. But whatever needs to be done, God, Olofin, Olorun, and Sambi, you know me, I call them all because at the end of the day, it all represents the Most High. It doesn't matter what name we call it. Wants you to start living a new life free of guilt. Free of guilt. I come here today as your spiritual doctor to operate in you, on you, spiritually and energetically, to extract that spirit of guilt that has been holding your destiny hostage. Your blessings are waiting for you, love. Your blessings are waiting for you. The new marriage is waiting for you. The marriage that you have now is waiting for you. You've been married, but you haven't been present. You've been physically there, but you've been emotionally and mentally and energetically absent. Because whatever happened with your daddy issues doesn't allow you to be present in this marriage with a man that may not be perfect, just like you're not perfect, just like I'm not perfect, just like no one is perfect, but you don't even enjoy this person because you're still having some internal residue, some internal issues, some internal block that is not allowing you to be present. What it's going to take in order for you to show up for yourself? What's it going to take in order for you to undress yourself from that guilt you've been carrying for months and years so that you can enjoy life. So that you can enjoy life. I invite, I bring in, I pray in, I meditate in the energy of Obatala so that he can redress your head with a new clear mind, with a new level of understanding, with a new way of thinking, with a new way of seeing yourself. And I also invite the energy of Oshun, goddess of love, so that she can start injecting the energy of love inside you so that you can start speaking to yourself in a loving way, so that you can start treating yourself in a loving way, so you can start embracing yourself in a loving way. Because even though you look pretty outside, even though you dress up, even though you wear the perfume, even though you wear the makeup, even though you look, good with your photos, with your Coach bag or your Gucci or whatever it is that you wear, but inside, let me tell you, as long as you feel ugly internally, you cannot really truly possess the beauty that you already have, whether you're a man or a woman or whomever you are. This is not exclusive to just women. This is to all human beings. This is to all human beings. Ask yourself. You have to ask yourself, how is this behavior that I have going on against myself? Because it's not for me, it's against me. How is this behavior I have going on against myself truly serving me? Truly serving me? How is this behavior that I've been carrying on with myself truly serving my divine purpose? It's not. It's not. It is not serving your divine purpose. I need you to rise up from that. I need you to wake up from that state that you're in. Because it's not fair to you. Why? Because you deserve more. You deserve better. And it's not fair to the individuals that surround you, because they deserve more of you, and you deserve to be able to truly, transparently enjoy them. But you don't do that because you're full of guilt. Or maybe it's not even something of a consequence of a dramatic experience. It could be something so simple, beloved. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be a huge level of trauma, but it could be something as simple as, I felt guilty for not doing the best I could do in school. I feel guilty for not, showing up when I was in high school or doing my best in college. I feel guilty because I got fired from a job because I was late all the time. And I have to admit to myself that I was late all the time. I did deserve to be fired because my employer is going to deal with my tardiness every day. Forgive yourself for it. Release it. Let it go. And start a new life. Okay? It is necessary for you to start a new life after you forgive yourself. You need to forgive that person that you were back then. You need to forgive that person that you were at the time that you committed that betrayal. You need to forgive yourself when you did your mama wrong, or you did your daddy wrong, or you did your son or your daughter wrong, or who you did yourself wrong. Whomever you did wrong, you need to forgive yourself so that you can start fresh, so that you can start a new life. You deserve it. You deserve it. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Do you not know? Hear me out. Give me a minute. Do you not know? You may not agree with this, but I'm going to lay it out. Digest it, process it, and whenever your inner spirit is ready, it will embrace it. Do you not know that as long as you are against yourself, as long as you act against yourself, as long as you're so unforgiving of yourself, as long as you are, working against yourself, you're also working against the universe. You're also working against God. You're also working against the Creator. Why? Because The Creator, God, Olofin, Olorun, Ensambi, Olodumare, can only work through you when you work through Him, her, the universe, Spirit. It needs you to work. It's because God, the Creator, works through us. So when we are in a block and when we are not ready, like that Two of Swords, that I'm not ready to face this, I'm not ready to do this, I don't want to talk about it, leave me alone, oh, this is too touchy for me. When you are in resistance, of the work that needs to be done, you're not working at the rhythm and vibration and beauty and love of the Creator. You need to unblock yourself. In my spiritual path, food for thought. In my spiritual path, many of you, most of you, unless you are a newcomer to my page, most of you know that I am Cuban. I was born in Cuba. I practice a spiritual religious faith which is called Lukumi, which is the root of Yoruba, which is from West Africa. Oricha. I am an ordained priest to energy of Shango. I also practice Palo Mayombe, which I was ordained to Palo Mayombe prior to being ordained to Oricha. And for even longer than that, I practice spirituality, but spirituality in the Afro-Cuban aspect, which is called espiritismo, spiritism, the practice of spiritism, under the wing and of Allan Kardec, communicating to the ancestor, communicating to spirit guides, to guardian angels, doing what we do, which is called misas. In English, is called seance, where we sit and pray and elevate and download and communicate and what have you. A whole different process, a long process to work espiritismo, and I've been doing that for over 25 years. Well, in a spiritual seance, in a Cuban style spiritual seance, when a negative spirit comes down, a spirit that lacks light, it always comes with the arms crossed. It always comes down with the arms crossed. When the person has been possessed by a negative vibration, by a negative spirit that comes down, it comes with the arms crossed, blocked. As a healer, as a spiritista, which is a spiritist, you have the duty, the job to give light to that spirit so that he or she can receive that light, so that then he or she can elevate and receive the Most High, receive the blessings, elevate to a different dimension, get out of the darkness. So what we do is, we grab the candle, la vela, called in Spanish la vela, and we put it, in the forehead of the person being possessed by that negative entity. And until that spirit doesn't repent, until that spirit does not forgive itself, because the last words that those spirits, when it's actually happening for real, not when people are dramatizing and making believe and all the drama and trying to impress people or trying to make a show, I don't partake in that BS. But when this is something that's really going down and this is actually truly happening, y tú agarras ese crucifijo, in our case, because we work a lot through mixed with Catholicism, but whatever, I'm not going to get into that topic right now. Point of the matter is that, you grab the candle and you grab the cross in this particular case, and you put it in the forehead, and you talk to that spirit, and you educate that spirit, and you teach that spirit, and you give that spirit the light, and you try to show them that the way they've been doing things is the wrong way, the way they've been possessing their bodies the wrong way, the way they've been interfering with that person's blessings is the wrong way, the way they've been blocking that person's prosperity is not the right way, because they are a spirit of light that have been tricked into darkness. They are a spirit of light that have been tricked into darkness. So we ourselves as humans, talking about us who are alive, living in the flesh in this existence, we are spiritual beings having a human experience but we are spiritual beings of light, and we trick ourselves through our experience into the darkness that keeps us depressed, that keeps us in anxiety, that keeps us locked down, that keeps us blocked, that keeps us living in unforgiveness, that keeps us guilting ourselves for the purposes of the topic of this particular video. And we have to be willing to receive the light. We have to be willing to see the light. We have to be willing to embrace the light. We have to be willing to forgive ourselves in order for this light to take place. So what are you going to do to receive the light? What are you going to do to embrace the light? What are you going to do to start living in your light? What are you going to do to start living in your power? Come on now. Come on, my beloved spiritual warriors. What are you going to do to start living in your light? Forgive yourself for whatever it is that you did. The universe is not guilting you. The universe is not making you feel guilty. You are. It's you. It's your mentality, your mindset, what's making you feel guilty. It's your mindset, not the universe. The universe is on your side. You just need to be part of the universe plan. Let me play for you this. Can we show for a few minutes? Let me play this Oshun song for you. Let me play this Oshun song for you, because I need Oshun to come, deliver some honey, some sweetness into your life. I need Oshun's energy to come into your mind, into your heart, because you've been bitter for a long time. You've been unforgiving for a long time, and I know what unforgiveness is because I've been unforgiving for a long time. I was past tense, unforgiven for a long time. You need to forgive yourself for whatever it is that you feel guilty about. You don't even have time to question whether or not you were really guilty. The point is that you have treated yourself as a guilty person, and you have not been able to show up for yourself because you felt guilty and you've been acting guilty, and that's why you're not embracing and receiving your blessings. Am I being clear? Am I helping anybody tonight? Can anybody say a shit? I hope somebody delivers a message on this video. I hope somebody posts a message about this video, because I need to know that I'm not going crazy with what Spirit gave me tonight to share with you, because too many of you are living under a cloud of guilt of what was, what could be, what should have done, what I should have said. Let it go. Forgive yourself and let it go, and show up being present in your new life, in your new way of thinking, in your new way of being, because you cannot afford to continue to feel guilty over what was.
Mailele ocho ache wole ule bima ocho bailele bima ocho bailele ocho ache wole ule bima ocho bailele.
Let Oshun bless your life with a lot of honey, a lot of sweetness, a lot of love. First and foremost and above all things, self-love. Self-love. That's what we need. That's what we need. Because you're so unforgiving of yourself that you have forgotten to love yourself. Or maybe you've never learned how to love yourself. Tonight is the night to learn. It's never late to learn. I don't care if you're 21 listening to this video. I don't care if you're 18 having issues of what went on when you were 9 years old. I don't care if you're 39 having issues of what went down for you at 29. As I'm speaking to you and delivering this message, I'm also talking to the men and women that have been unfortunately raped, and for whatever crazy reason you feel guilty because of that person that trespassed and disrespected you, and you're the one feeling guilty when you were the one that was raped, when you were the one that was molested, when you were the one that was abused, and you're feeling guilty. Obatala and Oshun comes here tonight and tells you, never felt guilty over such atrocious act. It wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault. It don't matter if you had a mini skirt that you can see your butthole. It doesn't matter what you had on. It doesn't matter where you were. If you were in that club and you were drinking and you had too much to drink, and that's why you feel guilty, for whomever this message is for, because you had too much to drink, and then you think that because you drank too much, somebody had the right to violate you. No, honey. No one has the right to violate you, no matter how drunk you are, no matter how tipsy you are, no matter how shoot up you are. It doesn't matter. Do you hear me? It doesn't matter. Am I speaking to anybody here tonight? Am I speaking to anybody here tonight? Am I speaking to anyone here tonight? Can anyone say Ashe? Can anyone says, yes, that is me, and I am not willing to be that same old person again? Can anyone speak to this truth? Can anyone speak to this truth? So that Orisha's energy, God's energy, the universe's energy, Egun's energy, Spirit's energy is not here being delivered in vain. Let me know that this message was for you, because you need to liberate yourself. You need to liberate yourself from that guilt of I didn't tell my mom I love her enough. And the last thing before she died, he had a fight, and I called her a bitch. It doesn't matter. She understands you. She's a spirit now. She understands you, and she doesn't fault you, and she's not holding you hostage to that argument. Why are you holding yourself hostage to that argument? Why are you holding yourself hostage to that argument you had? Why? Let it go. Forgive yourself and let it go. You can do it. You can do it. I'm going to share this one with you. Come on. Because I'm in the mood tonight. 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 I'm in the mood tonight because I feel in the core of my being. I feel it in the bedrock of my soul. I feel it in the bones of my body. I feel it deep down inside in my marrow that someone needs to hear and listen to this message. Because I feel people's pain. Because I feel how much you've cornered yourself in hideout. You've cornered yourself in hideout. I don't deserve this. I don't deserve that. I'm not pretty for this. I'm not intelligent enough for that. Who's going to pay attention to me? Because you're feeling guilty over things that you did in your past. Over things that you were subjected to in the past. Over things that you had to go through. You had to go through that, even though we don't understand why we go through what we go through. You had to go through that in your past so that you can be the queen or the king that you are and will be today. So it doesn't matter what you went through, beloved. It doesn't matter what you went through. What matters is how you use it. Listen to me. Listen to me. Let's say Ashe. Listen to me. What matters is how you use that negative, ugly experience as a tool to persevere, as a tool to overcome, as a tool to be able to crown yourself the queen and king that you were born to be. Did you hear me? Did that make any sense to you at all? As this song says, rise up. Rise up from that darkness. Rise up from that guilt. Rise up from that dark space that you're in. This is probably tied up to last night's message. It's just delivered in a different kind of way. For those of you that have put yourself in corners of guilt, that have dressed yourself in a suit of guilt, take off the suit of guilt and wear the suit of victory, because victory is what's coming today at you. Victory is what's in front of you tonight. Victory is what's facing you tonight. Victory is what wants to take possession of your life tonight. Victory is what wants to crown you tonight. Do you hear me? It doesn't matter. And some of you know why you feel guilty? You know why some of you are feeling guilty? Because some of you are actually really good people, really good-hearted, really ethical, do the right thing, but you feel guilty because you feel between a brick and a wall, a rock and a hard spot with responsibilities that you just feel like letting go of. You don't know what you want to do. You want to live somewhere else. You want to do something different. You want a different job, but you're held hostage because you feel that you have to be there for your children. You feel that you have to be subjected to what your husband wants to do and not what you want to do. You're there because you have older parents and you cannot be as free as you want to be, and you feel guilty for wanting something different. Listen. Let's release the guilt and let's embrace the blessing. Let's release the guilt and let's embrace the blessings. Come on, get up, rise up from that guilty spot that you've been sitting on for too long. Oh, I hope somebody's listening to me. I hope somebody's listening to me. I hope this message is making sense to somebody. Somebody needs to be delivered tonight. Somebody needs to be set free tonight. Somebody needs to rise up tonight. Are we rising up tonight? Come on, beloveds. It's not your fault. The rape wasn't your fault. The molestation wasn't your fault. Stop making yourself feel guilty over it. The abandonment wasn't your fault. The way he or she walked out of your life wasn't your fault. And even those things that you did do consciously, if you stole some money that should have never taken, if you became, whatever it is, it doesn't matter what you did. It doesn't matter what you did tonight. You give yourself permission to set yourself free from that old experience so it doesn't continue defining your destiny. And I'll leave you with this one. I'll leave you with this beautiful song to Obatala, which is not an Orisha song actually. It was recorded by a lady. Her name is, let me see here, Yeyefini Efumbolade. And I heard this song and I love this song because it's Obatala. It's dedicated to Obatala, but it's not in Orisha song, but it's dedicated to the energy of Obatala. And I just love this song when I heard it. And I usually play it a lot in my healing classes, in my meditation classes, or what have you that I teach. But I'm sharing it with you tonight because I need Obatala to cleanse your head, cleanse your ori, cleanse your consciousness. Come on now, let's elevate. I hope this message is helping somebody because I feel good, I feel happy. Because I know it's going to set somebody free. I feel it in the core of my being that it's going to set somebody free. And even if it's just one person, I am happy. Even if it's just one human being, I am happy. Because I know this message didn't come down from the Most High, from Spirit, from Egun, from Arao, no, for nothing or in vain. I know this message is going to make a difference to somebody. I hope it does. I pray that it does. I prophesize that it will. Yes, it will. It's time to throw away that key, that old key that had you locked in an old room of inconsistency, of procrastination. That's why you haven't shown up for yourself, because you've been feeling guilty. That's why you procrastinate, not because there's some mental defect with you. There's no mental defect in your life. Your only mental defect is your unforgiveness, which you're letting go tonight, which you're killing tonight. Let it go, honey. Let it go. Let it go, let it go. Let it go. Yes, cry it out. It's okay. Cry it out. Cry it out if you need to. Scream if you have to. But whatever you do, forgive yourself and let it go. Do whatever it is that you need to do. But whatever it is that you do, forgive yourself and let it go. Let it go. Did I help you tonight? I hope I did. Did Spirit help you tonight? Better yet, not me. I'm just a vessel. I'm just a messenger. I'm just a spiritual healer. I'm just an imperfect human being just like you. Did Spirit help you tonight? Let me know in the comment section. Let me know in the comment section. Hit like, share this message in your timeline, share this message in your page, share it, because you could be helping somebody that needs to hear this message, that needs to be liberated, that needs to be set free, that needs the help, the guidance. You might be helping somebody that's been thinking about suicide, and Spirit and Olofing Olorun Olodumare Obatala does not want them to end with their life because it's not their time yet. So share this message. Share this message on your page. Share with somebody that you know needs to hear this message. Share with your own mother, with your own father, with your brother, with your sister, with your sister-in-law. Share this message. Share it with your son, with your daughter. Share this message. Because many of you need to hear this message. You're not alone. And the unforgiveness needs to stop. The feelings of guilt needs to stop so that you can embrace. We call it in Yoruba, we say, Ireo Ireo ma, ire achegungota, ire obini, ire umbata, ire uyoko, ire de wanto loco. Bobo ire. Blessings of all sources, blessings of all nature, blessings in your job, blessings in your home, blessings in your body, blessings in your health, blessings in your economy, blessings with your significant other, blessings with your family, wherever you're at. Blessings. Some of you need to embrace the blessings. Madukpe, Ashe, Asheo, Oloru Nakbeo. Many blessings to each and every one of you. I love you all, my beloveds. Have a blessed, blessed night. This is Spiritual Dr. Afi.